once again, you are now behind enemy lines. Hey there, how you doing, America? Gene Berardelli and Ross Galloway here. We're back, bitches. Oh, I've been looking forward to this for so long, Ross. You have no idea. Oh, I gotta make sure you're me. Oh, see, I'm fucking up already. Hang on. Oh, and I'm cursing too. All right, there you go. We're good.
You warned me not to curse. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, listen, it is what it is, and I'm not going to apologize for it. How you doing, brother?
Man, I am fantastic. I am not in the belly of the beast anymore. I'm at an undisclosed location, but no longer in the confines of the 5 boroughs of the communist New York City.
We're not going to give it up. I am outside of the People's Republic of New York City, although I do have the glass from it. I did pick up a souvenir. Shop.buffoonoftheweek.com, guys, or right below in this video, go to the store tab. You'll find this as well. But yeah, the show used to be from the belly of the beast in the People's Republic of New York City. It was partly because of that and partly as tribute to your military service, which you're now retired from, living the life in an undisclosed location. And it was time to bring it back. I think, given what's been going on lately, it was time, don't you think?
By the way, how could you tell that I was retired?
I don't think that beard is a regulation. I don't know nothing from nothing, but yeah. But the interesting thing is, we both grew the facial hair after we stopped doing the show, which is kind of freaking cool when you think about it.
Bro, you know what I can't believe is that when was the last time we spoke to each other? And it's like the world went bananas over these last few weeks.
It was a we've been texting back and forth, but it's been a couple of months.
But you can't show prep like this. There's no way. Every day something crazy happened.
There's absolutely no way to show prep. But you know what? We're winging it. And by the way, everybody's telling me, and that's watching it, maybe not in the chat, but personally, that we're all good. So if you guys are listening, you want to listen to the show, check us out in the chat. Hit us up there. We will. Because we're just starting out here, you don't have to super chat if you're on YouTube. You don't have to Rumble rant if you're on Rumble. Just throw whatever your comments are in the chat about what we're talking about. We'll be happy to look at it throughout the show. But we got a great show planned for you. We're going to be talking about a lot of topical stuff in the aftermath of the Trump assassination attempt. We're going to look at Bob Menendez going to the pokey.
Woo.
And we're going to make fun of some blue anon conspiracy theories out there. So we got a great show planned. This is sort of like our maiden voyage here. So let us know how we're doing and let us know what you think about all this. All right, you know what? Let's get into the aftermath of the Trump assassination attempt and how the leftist media is not stopping with Donald Trump. Here we are, 4 days after the attempt on his life? And they're talking about the bandage that he had on his ear at the RNC as a prop. Ross, let me put this up on the screen. Let's get some reaction to this.
Ari Melber's reaction to the last 96 hours. Watch.
Here's how the New York Times put it. On the first night of this convention, Trump was his own biggest prop. He entered the VIP box, a large white bandage on his injured right ear, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles.
So, Joe, the ear bandage was a spectacle. I don't know. I'm reviewing my notes right now. I think it was because he was shot in the ear and he needed a bandage. It's medical.
You hear the way Ari Melber put that? His injured right ear. Injured, to your point. A bullet went through the ear. And he's wearing a bandage because he lost part of the ear. We are 3 days since this man nearly got his head blown off, only because he turned his head a little bit more to read some notes that were given to him on a screen around immigration. Is he alive right now? And MSNBC, as sick as they are, and Ari Melber, as sick as he is, go to hell, Ari Melber, quite frankly, because to say something like that, it's a prop? Give me a break. Show any sort of human dignity in this moment, and he couldn't do that, as could many on that network, quite frankly.
Go to hell, says Joe Concha. What do you think? Russ, you agree? Go to hell?
Go to hell. I mean, did you see the initial thoughts that President Biden had when it was like almost in real time? They asked him, and he's like, "Well, I have an opinion, but I don't have all the facts just yet. So I got to find out a little more before I tell you what I think about this incident." Like,
Yeah, I mean,
what was his opinion? Like, what could his opinion have possibly been other than my political rival was just shot at and someone tried to kill him? What opinion could he have possibly been trying to form? What new evidence would have came out? Unless he also thought it was fake.
Well, Ross, you know, the mainstream media had that problem as well. In fact, I wasn't thinking about bringing this up, but take a look at this. This is something I made for one of the shows. Look at these headlines here. Trump removed from stage after loud noises. Trump escorted after loud noises. Everybody was watching Anchorman apparently this week. The indie star with similar headline, popping sounds and whatever. Come on.
And to tell you the truth, Gene, when I saw these things popping up,
they all
I
did
really
this.
thought they
Rushed
were
off
fake.
stage after popping noises.
But didn't you think they were fake? Like, how could these be real? How could CNN have said he fell?
I agree.
Like, it was so absurd. I was like, there's no way that's real.
I
So
completely agree.
go ahead.
Go
The
ahead.
other
Yeah.
thing I wanted to just bring up real quick, just for discussion's sake, like, Trump is a bad mofo, right? I know we're trying to like keep it clean here. He's a bad mother effer.
Oh my God!
What if this was a Democrat? Any Democrat, right? Gabby Giffords. I heard about how evil we all were for months after Gabby Giffords got shot. Okay, when Steve Scalise got shot, and when anybody wearing a MAGA hat got beat up during 2020, and when someone charged the stage and tried to kill Lee Zeldin, which we all kind of forgot about. The majority of this violence comes from the left, right? But now all of a sudden Trump's faking it. There's literally a bullet that came whizzing across the screen. It's on camera. The guy went down. Secret Service is basically admitting that they dropped the ball. She's in hiding. Biden don't even know who his Secret Service director is.
Whoa. But Ross, he's a Republican. Aren't we all being told that he was a registered Republican? His parents are registered Republicans. Trump, I guess, not necessarily targeted the household, but did a profile in the household and thought that they were responsive to 2A issues. Come on.
Yeah.
Aren't you ignoring the elephant in the room?
All of you guys out there, please just let's go down the rabbit hole, shall we? The kid was 20 years old. Wasn't he 20? 20 years old, yes. So when did he register to vote? I'm just curious. I'm assuming in Pennsylvania it's 18, like the Constitution says, right? 18-ish. So he registered to vote 2 years ago. And then the other piece of information we got is that he donated money to a Democrat PAC, right? What was it? Act Blue?
Act Blue. And he did it on Biden's inauguration day.
Which was 3.5 years ago. 20 minus 3.5. He was somewhere in the vicinity of 16 to 17 years old donating money to Joe Biden / Democratic PAC / Act Blue, right? None of this makes sense, Gene. None of it. When you were 16 or 17 years old, did you give money to a PAC and then register to vote as the opposite party, 6 months later? Like, does it even make any kind of sense to you?
No, nothing makes sense to me because, honestly, how can you make sense of the unconscionable? How can you make sense of the unsensible? You can't. Nobody talks about Lee Harvey Oswald's political affiliation. Nobody talks about John Hinckley's political affiliation. Nobody talks. I don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it Sirhan that shot RFK Sr.? Yeah. I forget his name. I think that's what his name was.
Sirhan, yeah.
No one is talking about his political affiliation. We just talk about that they're freaky Lou wackadoos, right?
You know what though? F that. They are wackadoos. But I am going to talk about their political affiliation. I don't care what this guy was supposedly registered as. He might have got registered in a fake mail-in ballot 2 years ago. I have no idea, right? I know he shot President Trump. Who would shoot President Trump? Not a Republican. I will tell you that right now, right? So, no, it came from the left. Most political violence does come from the left, not just in this country, around the world. The Prime Minister of Japan killed. I can name them all off if I had them in front of me. Maduro, someone tried to shoot at him. All these people from the left, they got to watch.
Yeah, but you know what, though? And a friend who's texting me brought this up as well. How do we know that this kid didn't register this way or whatever way he did because of parental influence or to please his parents? We don't know. And I think that's kind of the point. We just don't know the deal with this kid.
Where's the director of Secret Service, Gene, so we could know? Like, what's going on with our government? Like, why don't we know?
I think the director of Secret Service is measuring the slope on the roof that the shooter was on to see if it was safe or unsafe for the Secret Service to go on to. So
Yeah.
that's what
do you
she was
remember
doing.
during the debacle of a debate, President Trump called out President Biden on a host of issues, but one being you have not fired a single person during your administration, not one. And this is a prime example right here. Why is this person not fired? Okay, yeah, maybe it's not the director's job to do a site sketch and make sure that nobody has line of sight on a protectee. Maybe that's true, right? But what kind of environment or culture did she put into place at the Secret Service? One of her first orders of business when she took over was to say that she wanted 30% of the on-the-ground agents to be female. What the hell does that have to do with protecting anyone? Like, her priorities are misplaced. She dropped the ball. Her agency dropped the ball. The buck has to stop somewhere, Gene.
Absolutely. Our friend Jonathan Lubecki, who I was talking about earlier, is the one who said that he could have registered because his parents wanted him to register. Think of the same as someone who is a certain sexual orientation doing straight things just for their parents. It is analogous, and I'll certainly give him that. First chat of the show goes to Jonathan Lubecki. We really appreciate that.
I ain't giving him nothing. He's a Democrat. Period. End of story.
Oh,
Take
stop it.
Republicans ain't doing that. Gene, the other thing before we move on is, where's the calls to ban AR-15s again? Oh, now AR-15s are good, right?
Oh, they're coming.
AR-style rifle.
They're coming. They're coming. I certainly believe that.
But you don't hear that from the right. The right's not saying we should have banned AR-15s, right? I'm saying that guy was a maniac. He's probably a Democrat. He definitely leans Democrat, right? But it wasn't the gun. It was him and an inept Secret Service.
Well, now you just get into conspiracy theories, Russ. How we can't do that here. We can't do that. We're on like the YouTubes and the Twitters and and the Rumbles. We can't do that.
16.5 years old, we were always donating to political.
But you know who can do conspiracy theories? Apparently, the Democrats out there. I saw this X account, this Twitter account from James Flug, who hit the streets. I think it was in California, to get some perspective, if you will, from. Well, let's just call them Blue Anon. Take a look at this.
Done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Okay. So
you know what? I'm actually going to throw it over because we were watching this earlier.
Oh, it's a false flag.
False flag.
Yeah, false flag.
Somebody died and 2 people injured. What do you think about that?
False flag.
False flag.
I thought it was magnificently staged. It was professionally done. It almost looked real.
Wait. Staged.
Professionally done. All right, so it was like take 3, everybody. They had the clackers on the screen. I'm sure they had Scorsese directing it, making sure, and bullet, and grab your ear, and drop to the ground. Cut, print, beautiful. Let's move on.
But do you see, Gene, where their mindset is at? These are the same people that for years now have believed that Joe Biden was okay, right? Before the debate, like literally minutes before the debate, they were talking about things called cheap fakes, right? When we just were watching unedited clips of Joe Biden being Joe Biden, they were cheap fakes. That's what these, these mentally deficient people that vote Democrat believe, just normally, right? This is what they believe, that they're in an alternate reality. They think that was fake. It happened on live TV,
which is completely nuts.
Yeah. They think that was fake. They think January 6th was an insurrection where we tried to overthrow the government. This is confession
by projection. They accuse the right of being the loonies that have all these conspiracy theories out there. But these are, just listen to this guy.
By who?
Oh, by Mr. Trump, of course.
I think this whole thing is staged.
You think it was staged?
Yeah.
It depends on everybody's view. Yeah.
View of the assassination attempt? What do you think? Does it kind of depend on where you're standing, whether or not you agree with the assassination attempt or disagree with it?
I just don't see that being the truth, but that's I'd rather just not make any comment.
Really quick, what are you talking about the truth? What do you mean? Oh, you just don't believe it was an assassination attempt?
No.
Please don't. We're so anti-Trump. I don't even want to.
Was it a bad thing, though? Was it a bad thing? Would you condemn it?
Oh, that he got shot at? Of course.
Yeah, right.
Of course, you don't do that.
That's all.
Of course. Now, she's saying, of course, she's going to be the sensible one, right? No way.
Yeah, that's really bad. No matter, yeah, exactly. You don't do that. Was it staged? Probably.
Are you kidding me here? Come on. Russ,
Now,
it's
where
horrible he
does-
got shot. It's so horrible he got shot. But it's
Where
staged.
does the where do the people who actually got shot in the crowd, one of which died, where do they go to get their $1 billion settlement? Like Alex Jones is supposedly have to pay out for saying that Sandy Hook was staged, right? These people are saying it was staged. Someone died, right? Forget about Trump's bandage on his ear. Thank God he survived, but someone died.
Well, they have the power of anonymity.
I think they should be sued, right? I don't know.
Well, they have the power of anonymity. They're just faces on the street doing this. But there are people on the Twitters and on the social medias that said just the same thing. And I think certainly they should be sued. I think that Libs of TikTok is out there posting all of their thoughts about this, and whether they're saying that they were happy that Trump was given a lead injection, or whether they're saying that it's all staged, or they have questions about that. It's out there in the ether.
No, it's out there, and the stage thing, the quote unquote mainstream media, they're not really going down the staged route so much. What I've been seeing a lot of is they're talking about they don't think the bullet actually hit him. They're like, oh, it must have hit the teleprompter screen.
Oh,
and there was some glass that caught him in the ear.
Don't
like,
spoil it.
Someone shot a high-powered rifle at the president. Like, that is huge. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter if it hit him, grazed him, ricocheted. Like, it wouldn't matter. It's still insane.
They say that in this video. We're going to keep going.
Staged. Okay, so you think Trump maybe staged a fake assassination for support? Okay.
Yeah.
And that resulted in somebody dying and other people being critically injured?
I haven't seen the news today. I'm not here for the news. I haven't seen anything. I'm on vacation.
So you just thought it was fake?
Of course.
One person died in the crowd, 2 critically injured. What happened
it's a
there?
small price. It wouldn't matter to Trump. Do you think he cares if people die for him to be elected? Death doesn't mean anything to Trump.
It wasn't fake.
I mean, at least that part wasn't fake.
Which part was fake?
Well, the guy dying, he did that for Trump. I mean,
so Trump hired someone to shoot past him and kill some of his supporters.
Well, to kill a supporter and injure 2 others. Yeah. That apparently, again, blue. They want to talk about QAnon. This is Blue Anon right here.
And the Secret Service is playing along. Like Amanda said in the chat that they found IEDs in his car too. So Secret Service is in on it now.
Amanda, thank you for the chat right there. Yes, the IEDs were found in the car. But they didn't go off because that's fake. It's all fake. It's all an illusion.
Don Jr. put him in the car.
Of course, it was Barron. Barron did it.
From whose side? Do you think Donald Trump staged it for attention?
Could be, or it could be the other side trying to make a scene or something. But I don't. The fact that he only got his ear and he would stood up and said America. I don't. Come on.
Right.
It doesn't feel normal.
What is our evidence for suggesting that it was a fake assassination
I
attempt?
think that he walked away alive with perhaps a scratch on his ear.
Yeah, it grazed his ear.
Yeah. Of course, behind the scenes, that was all fabricated. Some noise. They put a little scratch on his ear, threw a little blood on his face.
Now, so you think that they planned from 130 yards away to shoot off the corner of his ear?
And they never shot off the corner of his ear. That was all done by the people hanging around him. Nobody ever shot off his ear.
Okay.
Flip the tables here, people. If a Republican was saying this about an attempted assassination of Joe Biden, what would the reaction be?
Yes. Or even Obama. Think about that one. What would have happened there?
Oh, absolutely. Pick the Democrat of your choice.
Yeah.
And flip the script. This is how you know it's buffoonery. I mean, this is just... I can't believe this nonsense here.
And God forbid, by the way, I despise Joe Biden and his policies, but I would be extraordinarily upset if someone took a shot at him, right? Unfortunately for him, if he got tackled by even a female Secret Service agent, Joe Biden probably is not going to get back up, right? That would probably be the end of Joe Biden, but I would be very angry, right? They should be angry that someone shot at a president or a former president or future president, right? It's insane.
It's absolutely insane. And honestly, I'm waiting for the coverage on this. I want to know where the coverage is showing all these wackadoos out there saying this sort of crap. By the way, it's 20 minutes, Russ. You're unleashed.
All right.
I made a promise to Ross Galloway here that if he would be a good boy for the first 20 minutes of the show, I'd let him just off the fucking leash and say whatever he wants. So that's where we're at right now.
So you broke it first. Good. Let's keep moving. I like it. I'll now I can talk more freely.
How you doing? Keep it moving. Let's talk about all these hypocrites out there raising the temperature of the political rhetoric out there, even after we've seen President Biden go on TV and say, lower the temperature, saying it in his low voice. The day after that speech, Adam Kinzinger, that bastion of Republican conservatism, he took to X because, he's so likable and so popular in conservative circles. And he said this to his audience, which is mostly Democrat now.
It's not the same as calling for an assassination of the former
we got to start over.
president.
Hang on. See, I did it again.
Now, the question going forward is, how do we, talk about Trump? And here's my answer. The same. Do not let them intimidate us into not going after Donald Trump. Look, every adult knows that in politics, you'll say things like, we have to take Trump out so that he, doesn't destroy democracy. They know what we mean. We're talking about November 5th. Trump is a danger to democracy.
So reasonable people know what take Trump out means. No, I don't think so. And bear with me here, Ross, for a second, as I remind everyone the way that Joe Biden launched his campaign earlier this year.
Democracy is real.
Oh, again,
I
keep freaking
Donald
doing
Trump
that.
and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. But there's no question that the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country. MAGA Republicans do not respect the Constitution. They do not believe in the rule of law. They do not recognize the will of the people. MAGA forces are determined to take this country backwards to an America where there is no right to choose, no right to privacy, no right to contraception, no right to marry who you love. Trump and the extreme MAGA Republicans quote a clear and present danger to our democracy.
That certainly sounds like some incendiary rhetoric. Don't you think, Ross?
Yeah, look, man, I don't like playing this game where, we blame language and people get triggered to do these types of things. Right? They do this to us all the time. So for the sake of getting them back, I'm with it. Right? Yeah, they've definitely stoked the flames. They've called Trump Hitler. I know you have a million clips we could play. Hitler, a threat to democracy, an existential threat. Like literally America is going to cease to exist if Donald Trump gets elected, right? Like this. Yeah, obviously this could be a problem, right? I don't like to say that this is what caused this kid. I did hear an interesting theory, and I wish I wrote down who said this. I was listening to the radio earlier. Someone said this kid was 20 years old, right? So for the last, 8 years or so, all of his formative years up until his death, thank God, the other day, he's been hearing that Donald Trump is Hitler. Donald Trump is a threat to democracy from the age of 12 to 20. So, yeah, I could see how some of this, incendiary language could cause somebody to do something crazy. But I'd rather just blame Biden directly and be a little more conspiratorial. His Secret Service dropped the ball. Somehow that kid got on a roof 150 yards away. I know the chat saying the easier thing is just to look at something else and it's not conspiracy. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. But also, why did the Secret Service allow someone to have a direct line of sight 150 yards away from the president? Gene, I can take any kid off the street, give me 5 minutes with him, he could hit a 150-yard target. That's stationary. 100%. Easy. Right? So why would the Secret Service leave that lane open?
Well, the question
I think it's just let me stop for a second. I don't necessarily believe that, Gene. I just think it's more fun to make them defend that.
No.
I calling it a threat to democracy.
I got a couple of different points to make. First one is I agree with you in the sense that what this kid did, and I said this on This Week in Dumbocracy yesterday, I think it was. politics flows downstream, is downstream from culture. This didn't happen in a vacuum, as you said. 8 years of Trump is the bad man from WW2. Trump is going to, take away everyone's rights, and it's going to be World War III, and millions of people are going to die. He's a threat to democracy. All that stuff. It becomes ingrained and it becomes normalized to the point where if someone believes that rhetoric, something like this could happen. Now, as to the Secret Service, this is not just negligence. It's gross negligence bordering on willfulness, which is the problem that everybody's having right now. The main problem is also there are no real answers coming from the Secret Service and their own sort of after-action review. We're getting nothing from them. We're not getting any press conference talking about the type of gun, their timetable, or the things that you would normally get from an investigation like this.
Yes, and
we're not
that's
getting
what
any of that.
Needs to be, Gene. I don't care about the Morning Joe. And the Morning Joe Scarborough, didn't have his show on Monday because everybody was afraid of what he might say, right? Like sticks and stones may break my bones type of thing. I don't.
But
care
Morning Joe will kill you.
They will kill you, right? But I don't really care about the words. I like playing this game because it is fun to get them back because they always do this to us. I get it, right? But I'd rather put the crosshairs. Here we go. We're using words. Put the crosshairs on the Secret Service. Make them explain why this happened. The buck has to stop with someone in this administration. The president isn't responsible for anything. Mayorkas, we couldn't even impeach the guy, right? He's not responsible for anything. Secret Service falls under DHS. That woman is nowhere to be found. Doesn't give a briefing. We're going on days now with no briefing from the Secret Service. They blame local law enforcement. That town has like 8 cops.
And all she's saying is, I'm going to keep my job. But I want to put your statement to the test here, Ross. I'm going to play this clip from Dan Goldman from MSDNC. And I want you to listen to it. It's a very short clip. Defend this and say that this sort of language is okay.
Unquestionable at this point that man cannot see public office again. He is not only unfit, he is destructive to our democracy, and he has to be eliminated.
He has to be eliminated. Defend that. Tell me that's not incendiary rhetoric.
Look, I get it. It sounds terrible, right? But when you were on a campaign, you'd have certain election districts that are targeted or certain voters that are targeted, whether for trying to get them out to vote or trying to dissuade them not to vote, right? So we use that language. I get it. Look, I'm with you. Let's blame the Democrats and the left for using incendiary language. That's what caused that assassin. I love it. Fuck it. We'll put it back on them. But at the end of the day, I think the real angle is what the hell is the Secret Service doing? By the way, Gene, we didn't even mention this. I'm sorry to ramble here, but
go ahead.
We didn't even mention this part about it. First of all, they mentioned 2 real dumb things, the Secret Service, in trying to defend themselves. One was the slope of the roof. That was so completely absurd that maybe we'll come back to that. The other one, which I think is even more glaring, Gene, was they said that they were, and they've notified the Trump campaign about this, that there was an actionable threat from Iran against Donald Trump's life. So
yes.
if this Secret Service package was the upgrade, this was the super package, what the hell did he have before that? There was a credible threat from Iran. They upgraded security, and that's what the result was? There's something wrong.
Absolutely. And listen, I'm going to be the one that gets canceled on this show. But when I look at that picture of Donald Trump being secured by Secret Service and becoming human shields, there was at least one human shield that was about a foot shorter than the person that she was trying to protect. What exactly was the point of putting that agent on that detail? I'm not saying that she's not qualified to do the job of Secret Service. Secret Service has myriad different tasks that they have to do. Some planning, some on the ground, some investigatory. What was the point of putting that agent on protective detail?
And why is this an issue now? Because people are seeing the real. It's all fun when we just do academic thoughts. Women should be in combat and they should be police officers. That makes a lot of sense. That's academically, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Then when you see real life, right? Thank God most people don't see real life on a battlefield. but we got to see like real life Secret Service. We always talk about like Secret Service are willing to take a bullet, and God bless them. They are. The females jumped into most of them. There was one or two chunkier ones that really didn't do much there. Couldn't holster a gun, another one, right? But we got to see it in real life what they're expected to do. And even though they reacted, like you said, is it wrong to say that maybe there should be a height requirement if the person you're protecting is 6'3", right? Like, how could you be a human shield if the person's 6'3" and you're 5'4"? Like, it just doesn't even make sense, right? But now people are talking about it. Now it's sort of okay to talk about.
Oh, did you see
the
guys at the RNC now?
But talk. Oh, yeah. Did anybody see that? Anybody looking at the detail that is marching Trump around the RNC? It's all 6'4" or better dudes, right? All races, great, right? But it's all dudes, all big guys. Why? Is DEI, is it a failure? Can we start admitting, like, maybe if we want to talk about, in a previous life, Gene, I used to say, I am the biggest feminist you will ever meet, right? I truly believe in equal work for equal pay. But even the Secret Service, if you go watch Dan Bongino, he talks about they have different standards, right? So forget about height. They just have different physical standards. They have to run a certain speed. Men have to run a certain pace. They have to lift a certain amount of weight or do a certain amount of push-ups, and men have a different amount, just like the military, just like law enforcement. It doesn't make any sense. And we're risking people's lives. Can we admit it?
When DEI can turn into DIE, it's kind of scary.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, listen, you're inevitably going to get women, and somebody in the chat, I'm surprised didn't say it already. Well, I know a woman who could kick your ass. All right, great. I want that woman, right, on the team, right?
Yeah.
Well, where are the women in the NFL? Where's the WNBA players transferring over into the NBA? There's clearly physical differences. If there's not physical differences, then I want women to be drafted just like men. And I think men and women should be on the same teams, and forget about all this. Keep the transgenders off the female teams. Forget all that. We should be in your bathrooms. There's no difference, right? Either there's a difference or there's not a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I haven't done this in a while. But Mr. Galloway, we are at halftime here on the show. And I got to remember how to do the spiel for this whole thing.
Oh, man.
So I'm going to say to everybody out there, thanks for tuning into Behind Enemy Lines. I'm Gene. He's Ross. And while we got you here on the internet, because I know you're on the internet, because this is an internet show being broadcast on YouTube, on Rumble, and on the Twitters, I'm going to ask you guys to please subscribe where you're at, smash the thumbs up button where you're at, share the show with your friends, all that good stuff that feeds all the algorithms out there. And get into the chat with us. We're here to talk to you guys, and I'm looking forward to doing it. And by the way, to everybody in the chat right now, this is Ross, not any other name. If I see that other name out there, I'm going to kick your ass offline. But anyways.
Gene, you're scrolling the wrong name on the bottom. That's what's confusing people.
Oh, crap, I am, aren't I? I got to fix that.
Hey,
why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, I wanted to jump back. I'm glad you pulled up Amanda's comment there.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk about that while I fix this thing.
Yeah, so first of all, she asked the other question too. Is there a recording of me claiming to be the biggest feminist, right?
Yes, absolutely there is.
But yeah, the National Defense Authorization Act, what happened to that amendment, right? Interesting. Why, and maybe Amanda could jump in and tell us why, or Gene, if you have an opinion, why are Republicans so against this? There is no coherent argument. Republicans are the ones that are killing making women eligible for the draft. As we lurch towards World War III, with all of the branches failing to meet their recruiting numbers, I think only the Marine Corps is just about to meet.
What?
But they've also lowered their thresholds, right? So those are all iffy numbers to begin with. They lowered the goal, and now they're starting to get closer to meeting it, right? But we're lurching to World War III. There's talk about instituting a draft again, and women are equal to men. They're trying to change the law, insert something into the NDAA to get them eligible for the draft. And Republicans are fighting it, but I don't hear what the argument is other than, well, we don't want women to be drafted. I don't want my daughters to be drafted. Okay, dude, but you allowed women to be in combat arms units. They're either the same or they're not the same. You cannot have it both ways on this issue. No one wants to go to war. Why should an 18-year-old boy get drafted and go to war, especially some BS war like Ukraine, possibly Russia, Ukraine, right? So if men have to do it, then women have to do it.
Isn't that equality? Or do we only want equality at the executive level of businesses, or in the higher levels of government, or in the higher paying service jobs out there, or not the blue collar jobs like Jordan Peterson talks about with you want real equality? How many women are going to line up to be bricklayers or in construction
or roofers in July? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a wage gap. Sure, there is. When I used to drive over the Verrazano Bridge, and I see guys dangling from a rope painting the cables, I never saw a woman do the job. Not that they can't. Most of them are smart enough not to want to do that kind of job, right? But you get paid pretty well. You're making six figures to dangle thousands of feet over the river there, over the bay, New York Bay.
I just want to get my friend Deborah on here. Talking about your beard there, Ross. By the way, shout out to Deborah. Deborah gave me a great opportunity because she got my book, Schnooks, Crooks, Liars, and Scoundrels, a field guide to identifying political buffoons, in the New York Public Library now. So thank you very much, Deborah, for always being a great friend and for supporting the channel, the show, and the book, which is awesome. There's some other. Let's get some other comments in the chat right now because we got a couple of good ones in here. So Lou Becky's been going off. We all know their body, their choice, which never applies to men. He also wants you to know that in Israel, Ukrainians nor Russians are conscripting women. Israel is. We know that, and so are those in Gaza as well. So there's your equality. It's in the Middle East, apparently.
Yeah, and I am curious, though, like Lubecki mentioned the Russians and Ukrainians.
And he would know, by the way, because he's been over there.
Right? Yeah, but they're not. But what is the point? Like, shouldn't they? Have you seen the videos of, like, should we? So I guess here's the bigger question, right? Should we conscript our 18 to 20-year-old boys eventually to go fight in one of these wars over there when they are not conscripting their own female citizens? Right? Like, I'm an absolutist on this. Like, I'm against war, period. Like, I actually have evolved into, like, where Tucker Carlson is. Tucker Carlson's, like, just against war. Donald Trump is, like, sort of just against war unless it's absolutely necessary. I actually read a brilliant article, by the way, not to go too far astray here, but it was about the draft and how it might actually be a good thing for this country because it would stop us from getting into unnecessary forever wars if a larger percentage of the population were actually affected by those dumb decisions that people like Lindsey Graham make constantly, right? But yeah, I think that women, regardless of what the Ukrainians and the Russians are doing, if it's an existential threat and we have to force people to fight against their will, it's all hands on deck. Or we can admit that men and women are different, and maybe men should be combat arms, military, law enforcement, Secret Service, and we can go that direction. But you can't have it both ways, right? There's just too many people trying to have it both ways.
Hey, quick question. Do you want a guest on?
Who's this?
Lubecki.
Yeah, bring that mofo on.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to send him the link right now. Give me 1 second. And Amanda, if you want to come on too, shoot me a message. Let me know.
She's got a great question there about.
Yeah, I didn't want to turn this into a party line the first time around, but hey, we're rocking and rolling here. We got a good. I didn't really blast this out. We got a good number of people out there. So is this the one you want to talk about?
Yes.
Okay, everybody's got to get used to Ross, not that other name. I've been told that other name doesn't work because, as we all know, Ross is going to be touring with ZZ Top coming in August and September. I think he's going to be hitting the band shell in Coney Island real soon. So, he needs to be a little incognito while he learns the Grange on the bass. So, okay. Ross, I recall that years ago you were against drafting women. If I'm right in my recollection, what makes you shift your view?
So I think that's an excellent question, right? And to be honest with you, sometimes what I do here, and I encourage all people to do this, is just like a stream of consciousness and think things through to their logical extreme, right? So I encourage this. Sometimes what I'm saying isn't even my view. It's just let's think it through. I don't know what the right answer is as far as drafting women. I probably was against it because deep down I'm against drafting people, period. I don't think forcing someone to join the military is probably a good idea unless it was absolutely necessary. Okay? So that's like one box, one pile of rocks there. Especially in today's world where we fight wars at the drop of a dime over nonsense, right? Iraq, I was there. I was all for it at the time. I was much younger and dumber. Okay, now when looking back, what was the point of that war, right? But it was an all-volunteer army, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe if there was a draft, there would have been a bigger uproar to not go fight a war over like weapons of mass destruction that we couldn't really prove were there. I don't know. Right, but it's worth thinking about. These discussions don't take place. Everyone just draws a line in the sand. I'm against women being drafted. I'm for women being drafted, and that's it. They fight to that position to the end, and they're not willing to move. I'm open to the idea. If we get attacked by Russia or China, land invasion, and it's all hands on deck, guess what? We got to draft women. We got to draft old guys too. We got to draft everybody. They're raping everybody up in here. You know what I mean? We got to get everybody on with a gun in the hand. But if it's to fight Iran over like the Houthis, no. Like I don't think we should be drafting women or men, really.
I hear you on all that. I have all views on this, but you know what? We promised people we'd be getting to this topic right here. And I think we need to get to that before the end of the show. Oh, wait, you know what? Before we get to Menendez, Jonathan Lubecki joining the show. Man, it's dark where you are. Can you turn your light on or something? Jesus. You realize you're on camera.
I don't have lights on my balcony. And my kid's inside playing, he's killing people on video games. So I'm out on my balcony.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So,
is that better?
Well, I mean, there's a silhouette at least. That's good enough.
That's awesome.
That's good enough for sure. Okay. Do what you got. Listen, hey, Ross, are you okay to go a little longer than what we said?
Yeah. Let Lubecki rant.
Okay.
Let's hear him.
Okay.
Ross, we haven't met before. It's a pleasure to meet you. Next time I'm up in New York, we need to hang out.
We will next time.
I told you this. I told you this whole thing was gonna confuse a few people. But okay, so listen, I know that you were recently returned from Ukraine, where you had some freaking adventures from what we talked about.
Oh,
so what's your
crazy.
thoughts? What's your thoughts on what we've been talking about as far as the Secret Service detail and the role of women on there? What's your take on that?
So, as somebody who served in the military and served in a humanitarian capacity in Ukraine with both men and women, I'll be honest, I judge people on who they are. This is why, look, my concerns are when bullets start coming towards us, are you going to send bullets that way? And can you pull my old fat ass out of a burning Humvee? If you can do those, I'm cool with it. And I'll be honest, I don't care what's between your legs if you can do that. I equally abhor a guy who can't do that as I do a girl who can't do that. And if we're going to talk conscription, I get the argument not to conscript women.
Well, listen, I want to bring this up on the screen right now. I'm going to share my screen, see if this works. Give me 1 second here as I still figure this stuff out. But here is an article from NBC News. Secret Service says it's appalled by DEI rhetoric against female agents after Trump rally shooting. Saturday's shooting is the latest instance of right-leaning social media accounts trying to link DEI programs to deeply troubling news events. And again, let's leave the photo up there because there was a lot of talk about this particular agent having trouble holstering her sidearm. And we can get into that a little bit. Okay, so this is from NBC News. U.S. Secret Service said Wednesday it stood by its female agents and was appalled by some of the criticism they received on conservative social media since Saturday's attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump. The Secret Service, in a statement to NBC News, said that the criticism from pundits and influencers was baseless. The agency also stood by its commitment to diversity in recruiting as helping, not hurting the effectiveness of its protective teams. So that's what Secret Service is saying, Ross. Response.
Yeah, well, I wanted Lubecki to unpack a little more, too, when he said he could see why, the position to not conscript women, right? And we could dovetail it with the Secret Service, obviously. But what's the basis for that opinion? I'm just curious.
So one, on the Secret Service, I think context is very important here. For example, Russ or Ross, you mentioned you have daughters. So if your daughter, let's say, lightning strikes 8 times in a row and you become president of the United States, and your daughter now has a Secret Service detail, are you going to want like the biggest, buffest dudes, or might you want a female on her detail? You have gone and played over yonder in various capacities. Awesome. When you're interacting with females in the Muslim culture, might it not be good to have a female on your team? If they can, I'm not saying let them on the team because they're female. I'm saying let them on the team because they fill a valuable role that a male cannot, given the context, and they are properly trained and tested to be able to live up to the same standards as every other agent.
Well, you know what? I think, Jonathan, I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier, that there are different roles for different people based upon their strengths and weaknesses, right? I mean, is it a strength to have a 5'3" person, male or female, to be on the detail that is protective of a person that's over 6 foot? Is that the right place for that person? Are you putting that person? Are you setting them up for success in their role?
But here's one of the things we don't know. We know that there was an attempt on a candidate and former president's life, and every Secret Service agent collapsed on that protectee. Now, we don't know what her role was had that not occurred. Like, she could be public affairs, but also an agent. And when shit happened,
Well,
by
hold
the way,
on a
can I
minute. But
swear on
if
this?
she's public affairs, she shouldn't be near the stage.
No. Here's the thing. What I'm saying is we don't know the various roles. And so odds, like, I'll be honest. For example, one of the things I've actually said is one of the new battle spaces is cyber. And I swear I'll circle this back. If the best cyber person on the planet happens to be a female in a wheelchair, I don't have a problem putting her in uniform and making her a captain if that's what it takes for her to be on our side.
That's no problem, but I don't want her on the stage when bullets are flying.
And I understand that. But if 99% of the time it doesn't matter, and if the position gets overrun, it becomes an issue. I'm just saying, we need more information before ridiculing somebody who was put in that position. Now, I view this a lot like Uvalde, in which law enforcement, through complacency and cowardice, failed in their primary mission. Now, as far as to what Ross was saying, yeah, part of the reason of not drafting women, we've had a few different people taken prisoner. We've had Americans held. If you ask anybody about a POW from Iraq and Afghanistan, they're probably going to mention a blonde, blue-haired white woman who was captured during the initial invasion and held. And they forget there was another woman who was also captured. Part of the reason they don't want to draft women is because if they want to continue to feed the war machine, they can't have beautiful young women missing limbs.
Yeah, but so I agree with you, but that's why I wanted to ask you what the basis was. That's a feeling, right? But that's not women and men keep saying that equal work for equal pay, equality, equal opportunity. We can't argue that side of the coin and then say, well, we also don't like the look of females getting captured as POWs, right? Like a young guy getting captured and getting his balls chopped off by the enemy is pretty fucking horrific too, right? Like, I don't know. If we're all the same, we're all the same. If we're not all the same, I'm okay with that too. But we have to just admit it.
I wanted to pull this photo
but
up.
Here's the deal.
I did a search real time.
You're relying on facts and narratives. This is about optics.
I did, but okay, let's talk about optics for a second. Also,
I'll tell you, the reason that amendment was put in is because there was an amendment that did make it through that completely automated registering for the draft for men. And to distract from that, they put in this female one, and everybody paid attention over there,
I,
and nobody
I,
paid attention to the automatic. Here's the thing. I disagree with conscription. I believe everybody should have a choice whether they register or not. But I think that should be a choice, not something done automatically. Because if we
okay.
want to talk about automatic conscription, then those people should be automatically registered to vote. If they can be conscripted and give their life for their country, like my body,
Well,
my choice doesn't matter to men who are drafted.
well, then we're living in Starship Troopers. But you mentioned optics.
Yes.
I'm looking at this photo. Part of the job when there's an active shooter around a protected person like this, I would assume, having not done the job, is to get them to cover. How is the smaller person going to get the bigger protected person to cover? Donald Trump was resisting the human shield.
Hold on. I understand this. Also, can I tell you, this is a horrible photo because you have a protectee who was just shot, who's very open right now in this photo. Even the male is not protecting him.
That's correct.
Hold on. Can I tell you, this is how a lot of this happened. And I said, everybody wants to look for a conspiracy. Incompetence and complacency are the likely answer here.
I got you. I got you. But listen,
Ross, you did a lot of training of various soldiers throughout your career, correct?
Yeah.
How many didn't take it seriously because they never thought it would really happen? The last time anything remotely close to this happened was in 1982, before anybody in this photo, except for fucking Donald Trump,
well, no, I mean,
was
yes,
alive.
I get all that. And they could have been doing the best job possible. They could have taken it seriously. And there still would have been a situation where this smaller person, I don't care if she's female, male, whatever she identifies as, I don't care. I'm talking about the assignments being handled by this Department of Homeland Security and the head of the Secret Service to put this shorter person in a position to fail, regardless of how well she was trained or how well she took up the training, because she was not going to be moving a very determined and defiant Donald Trump from the stage. He was bargaining
And
with everyone who was
no
there.
one expects any individual agent to do that. And there were how many guys who were larger than
If there would have been
than
one
him?
more there, though, we don't know if they would have gotten him off quicker. We don't know.
No, because
Do you guys
honestly,
think, by the way, do you guys think that women and men should be allowed to box each other, like boxing, if they're in the same weight class? Like, should we put them in the ring against each other?
Absolutely not.
And that's that's a very controlled atmosphere where there's a referee and judges and an audience, and no one's
I
going to
think
let
if
anybody
everyone
get killed.
consents to it, I don't have an issue with it.
Oh, I definitely have an issue.
You think so? You don't think women? You don't think women should be drafted, but you think they should be allowed to box men in boxing rings? Like, we have to just get some kind of like foundation to start from here.
Hold on. What I said was if everyone consents. I have no issues with women serving. I have no issues with women volunteering to serve.
You see, consent is not
involuntarily conscripting them.
I consent to have Ross shoot me in the head. What does consent do there?
No, but let's just use his example for a second. So then, if they
Actually, in Oregon,
to be in a boxing ring,
suicide is
if they
permitted.
consent to be in a boxing ring, they should have to box whoever is in the ring, male or female, right? Like women. The point I'm making is when women want to have their own piece of the pie, like female sports, they get that. But then when they want to insert themselves into male-dominated professions or other things, they also get that. But it's only by consent. You cannot have it both ways. If they can be Secret Service agents, then there should not be a WNBA. There should just be an NBA, right? And we're all the same, and we compete, and the best person gets on the team, and that's it, right? Because if they can't compete on an equal footing in sports, then when we're in real combat, life and death, they shouldn't be able to consent to be in that either. Right?
Well,
That's the
this
point
is
I'm trying to
what.
make.
Hey, this is why I don't believe there should be different standards. It should be a military standard.
We
Whoever
agree
meets
there.
it, meets it.
If it's the same standard, then obviously that mitigates it. I agree, 100%.
And like again, my whole thing with women serving is if bullets start coming towards it applies to men, women, gay, straight, don't
Yes.
care. If you know are trans, fine, as long as when the bullets are coming towards us, you send bullets in the other way. Like that's all, and you can pull my fat ass out of a burning Humvee. That's all I care about.
And this is why Amanda may not believe it. We're the biggest feminists on the planet. I truly believe in equal work for equal pay. If they can do the things you just said versus a 110-pound guy who's 5'3", I'll take that big ass female who can drag me out of a foxhole.
I mean, one of the big issues I have is, you know, you look at run times, okay? Because men and women run the same distance, and there's a different time chart. If you're kicking men out because they can't run as fast while promoting women because they passed, that's a problem. Like, I'm very much Starship Troopers. I think
yes,
we
but
should
you
have
have different standards, and we went down into like this the military rabbit hole, and we can pull out of here. But I just wanted to piggyback on this for 1 second. Women in the military are getting promoted above men because physical fitness is tabulated into promotion scores, and their standards are lower. So you're going to have a bunch of female high-ranking officers that didn't earn it. Is the military better off for that?
Well, when you have a head of the Department of Defense who does that.
So the ear bandage was unnecessary. Oh, okay. What is all this? By the way, Gene, did you hear right before we came on? His boss has COVID again.
Yes, I heard that.
No, actually, can I tell you the funniest part is earlier this morning, Biden said he would consider dropping out if there was a medical issue, and this afternoon he popped positive for COVID.
Know it?
Yeah,
and wouldn't you know it?
COVID.
Absolutely. Well, listen,
Joe Biden, listen to me. Don't you fucking quit, bro. Don't let them tell you what to do. Stay in this race.
Listen, and with statements like this, and I'm going to make sure that I got this right this time. With statements like this, he's got to stay in.
I know you say, Joe, you may not have a Congress. Well, guess what? You all told me I couldn't pass the Inflation Reduction Act. You all told me I couldn't face it anyway.
Anyway.
Wait, hold on. Can I tell you why they're not going to kick him off the ticket?
Go ahead.
Because after what happened on Saturday, which, okay, this is kind of funny. So, been jet lag, recovering from chemical weapons exposure, bunch of weird stuff. So I was.
Hang on a second. Let me just drop this whole bomb you just laid on us here. Here, let me give this back to you. The dropping the whole thing that you've been doing is so much. Anyways, I pulled a Biden.
So I was taking a nap. I woke up. My kid's like, somebody shot Trump. I'm like, dude, that's not even funny. Don't joke about that shit. He's like, no, seriously, Google it. So I pull up my phone and fucking somebody took a shot at Trump, and I'm like, holy shit. So that's how I found out. Was kind of scolding my kid. We don't joke about these things. And then it actually happened.
Yeah.
But here's why they're going to keep Biden now. After what happened on Saturday, Trump's going to win. It's going to be a trouncing. Why give somebody new an L when Biden's already going to take it and they can blame it on he's old and feeble and not have somebody like Kamala or Gavin Newsom or Whitmer or any of the other people who want to run in 2028 take an L with only a couple of months before the election.
Yeah, I actually agree with him, Gene. I've been saying this for a while too, that I think the Democrats have actually figured this out months ago. The debate was just the opportunity to turn on him. They were going to throw this election. Yes. It was inevitable that Trump was going to win. I don't think they want to waste any of their star power. The only one I can think of that they may throw into the fire because he's kind of done anyway is Andrew Cuomo. I've always thought Cuomo might get a last-minute nod at a convention.
No,
I have a theory for you there. there is a very weak incumbent in the People's Republic of New York City, and Andrew Cuomo is itching for a comeback. He's going to want to be mayor of the People's Republic of New York City, and he's going to run the year after Trump wins, trying to ride the negative Trump wave over Eric Adams. That's what I think is going to happen there.
Well, no, I definitely think 28. You're right. That is a chance. But I'm talking about. I'm convinced that Joe Biden does not finish this term, and Joe Biden is not the nominee. Joe Biden's not going to finish the term, and he's not going to be their nominee. So, who do the Democrats throw in? They're trying to rehabilitate Kamala. Okay, maybe they go there.
I disagree. I think he's going to be the person because he's a sacrificial lamb at this point. I also think they genuinely wanted to replace him because they saw a path to victory if they did it quickly before what happened on Saturday. After what happened on Saturday. Let me just amend my statement.
He doesn't. He's not going to be the nominee, not because they're going to yank him. I legit don't think this guy lives till November. Like, I just don't see it. There's just no way.
Oh, no, he'll live till November. He won't live much past that, but.
And I don't mean assassinated. I'm not wishing him ill. I'm just saying the guy is extraordinarily
okay.
Well,
Look,
listen, I
they
pray
kept
for the help of my
woman
channel
with a
that he
vegetable
survives.
brain alive for years in Florida. They can hook his ass up to machines. Jill Biden will still be running the government as she is now, and he's still technically alive.
It may well happen. I just hope for the health and safety of my channel that Joe Biden is around to keep making statements like this.
No, he will be.
Build 2 million affordable homes and cap rent increases of 5% a year so corporate landlords can't God. Anyway, I don't want to get going. I'm going to get very upset. But there's gouging America. And by the way, not only saves lives, it will save taxpayers. Just what I did on the first round on dealing with Medicare. It saves the taxpayer $160 billion.
Hey guys, do you have that $160 billion handy? Because Papa can use a loan.
Bro, he yells, he whispers, he does it all, man. The guy's a showman.
Oh, it's the ASMR for me. It's this. Just listen to him. It's that for me. I love that. I love me some ASMR Biden. But listen, this is all well and good, but we made a promise to some people about things that we're going to be talking about on this show, and it was part of the banner. And I really want to get to this because this is, to me, a victory lap for the rule of law and for all sane people around the country. Bob Menendez is finally going to the pokey, y'all.
Yeah, they took the easiest case in the world and said, see, now we don't have double standards.
Well, let's see how easy this case was. I want to go back to the Justice Department's press release on the charges against Bob Menendez, his wife, YL Hana, Jose Uribe, who I think was a shortstop for the San Francisco Giants in the 80s, Fred Dybus, and the government of Egypt, the entire government of Egypt, in exchange for hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes to Menendez and his wife, which included, and let's just get down to the good stuff here, the cash that was on him, the gold bars in his pocket, promised actions to benefit Egypt and pressure the USDA. Shortly after she began dating Menendez in 2008, Nadine Menendez worked with Hannah, who was one of the defendants, to introduce Egyptian intelligence and military officials to Menendez. So his wife was the gateway drug for Menendez for all these bribes. Those introductions helped establish a corrupt agreement in which Hannah, with assistance from Dybus and Uribe, provided bribes to Menendez and Nadine in exchange for Menendez's actions to benefit Egypt and Hannah, among others. As part of the scheme, Menendez provided sensitive, non-public U.S. government information to Egyptian officials and otherwise took steps to secretly aid the government of Egypt. So basically, I think this is a FARA violation, right, guys? That's
no,
part
it's
of
bigger. Hey, it's bigger than that because look who controls the Egyptian government, which is the Muslim Brotherhood. So
yeah,
he was providing U.S. sensitive information to the intelligence branch of the Muslim Brotherhood. In exchange for gold bars.
And he was loading gold bars in his pocket. Okay, so according to U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, As the grand jury charged, between 2018 and 2022, Senator Menendez and his wife engaged in a corrupt relationship with those co-defendants, who were 3 New Jersey businessmen. Never get involved with New Jersey businessmen, guys. That's a lesson to be learned here. Who collectively paid hundreds of thousands of dollars of bribes, including cash, gold, a Mercedes-Benz, and other things of value in exchange for Senator Menendez agreeing to use his power and influence to protect and enrich those businessmen and to benefit the government of Egypt. Sounds quite serious. Doesn't sound like the slam dunk that you were talking about. To prove an international conspiracy like that, kind of a big deal.
But also, this is the second time he's been on trial for bribery, and he got away with it the first time.
Yeah, he didn't have to resign then. But now there are calls from Chuck Schumer since the conviction for him to resign. So,
gee, you said so. Wait, so if this wasn't a slam dunk, then explain the gold bars. Like who? The gold bars and the cash.
What, Russ? You peasant.
Well, he actually said he was hiding funds from the Cuban government.
He said it was a Cuban thing, like Fannie Willis was saying about it's a black thing. We only pay in cash, and we always keep cash, huge sums of cash in the house. Like it's not a Cuban thing to have gold. And by the way, his defense, I don't know if you guys picked this up over the last few days. His defense wasn't so strong that that the gold bars were gotten by legitimate means. The defense was that the gold bars were in a locked closet that was his wife's closet, and the house is in his wife's name. So this scumbag not only probably committed some minor form of treason and definitely bribery, but he blamed his wife. Like it's completely insane. This guy's a real dirtbag. And it was a slam dunk, Gene. Like this, I agree with Lubecki on this one. They picked the easiest one to show that it's not a 2-tiered system of justice, which it certainly is. Peter Navarro, God bless him, just got out of jail today and spoke at the RNC. What was his crime again? Not answering a subpoena to the fake January 6th committee. Yeah. And why was one more question for you, Gene? Why was Menendez?
There he is leaving court. Here's the article, by the way.
Yeah, and he hasn't. They're calling on him to resign, right? What George Santos? The idiotic Republicans. Yes. George Santos is still innocent, as far as I'm concerned, or still not guilty, right?
No. Here's the deal with that, and I've been saying this forever. George Santos didn't want to talk to the. I'm getting a little fussy here because I'm working on the screen and talking at the same time here. George Santos refused to cooperate with the congressional investigation. Congress has the power to investigate just as much as the courts do. They can do their own parallel investigation. So when he refused to cooperate, the Constitution gives Congress the power to oversee their own membership. It's right there in the Constitution that they were able to kick him out with a 2/3 majority.
Who controlled the House?
And they made their own finding of fact.
Yeah, but who controlled the House at that time?
The Republicans.
Republicans did.
Republicans. Okay,
so
now let's look at the Senate. Who controls the Senate right now?
Right,
the Democrats. So why aren't they doing their own parallel investigation, Gene?
So they could have, and they didn't.
They could, but they won't. My point is that the Republicans are stupid.
So we should be more like Democrats. That's what you're saying. We should act more like corrupt Democrats.
Yes, where you been, bro? I opened up the show with I am not above using their tactics against them. I don't think words caused that guy to shoot at Donald Trump. Right? I don't think so. Right? The guy was mentally unstable.
When a so-called Republican,
no matter what,
when a so-called Republican is out there scamming fellow Republicans, taking their money, taking their donations, and absconding with it. No, I can't. I don't want to be associated with that.
If we have a 25-seat majority,
what does
kick
it
him
matter?
out on principle. We have a 3-seat majority. We eat that one, and we look like hypocrites. I don't give a fuck. Look at what the court just be good. So you think Merrick Garland? I'm out. Rewind. You think Merrick Garland should be on the Supreme Court?
No.
That was pretty hypocritical what we did there.
No, it's not, because that was within the rules of the Senate. The advisory consent is another
Also,
constitutional
hey,
power.
Senate ethics rules are different than House ethics rules. It takes there's a bigger hurdle to start an investigation in the Senate than in the House. So you need to look at the rules of procedure for each individual House before you start casting bullets at everybody.
Be that as it may, from a principled stance, George Santos had
Get
to
out of here,
go.
principled.
Well, hang on a second here. Hang on a second. Know what getting rid of George Santos did? It gave Republicans 2 bites at the apple to try to maintain that seat. They didn't win the special election, so now they have another chance in November to try to win back that seat without the specter of Santos's scumbaggery hanging over it. There was no chance of winning that seat if George Santos would have stayed on for his entire term. Now at least there's some shot to try to hold on to that seat, especially with Trump coattails now in a Republican district like in Nassau County in the People's Republic of New York. I'm sorry. It was the right move.
Hey, Ross. Would you chapter out Santos if he was in your unit or take him into combat?
If I had a unit manning roster that required 100 service members and I only had 12, I'm keeping Santos. If I had 105, Santos is gone. Boop.
I completely disagree, but be that as it may.
Gene, don't go on yet.
Gene.
So
We
Santos
should have gotten rid of Santos if for no other reason than it gives the Republicans the ability to say, why don't you do what we do?
Santos had a better voting record than Nicole Malliotakis
I don't
and most
give
of the
a
other.
crap. The guy shouldn't have been there to vote.
What?
The guy shouldn't have been there to vote.
Oh, stop it. So, out of
Dude,
principle,
he conned veterans. Like,
Gene,
seriously.
the Constitution's not a suicide pact. We're not going to go down this road. We're not going to sacrifice ourselves out of principle. The other side has no principles. How can you fight people that don't follow any rules? They're using lawfare. They're locking up Donald Trump. They're trying to put him in jail. And you want to
MTG and Matt Gaetz fucking made it a suicide pact by fucking just causing all the issues with the speaker. So don't give me shit that we shouldn't kick Santos out.
You're talking to the guy who wrote the book about calling out political buffoons, and you're saying we shouldn't call out political buffoons because they're wearing the same uniform that we are. No, I don't subscribe to that.
No,
I literally wrote a book against it.
Gene, there's a time to clean house. We could have just let him lose the next election. The people sent him there. And what was he guilty of?
And what good would that have done going forward if we didn't have a great candidate like Trump going forward? What if it wouldn't have been as strong of a candidacy? And we would have given up that seat with the already slim margin that we have. At least
so
now
why didn't Jamal Bowman get thrown out? Why didn't Bowman get thrown out of the House?
Because
Republicans are stupid.
Because no, that's not true. The reason why you didn't is because you didn't have the votes to throw him out. It's the same reason you didn't throw out.
Also a misdemeanor majority.
No, you need 2/3. You need 2/3. That's why Rashida Tlaib is still there. That's why Ilhan Omar is still there. That's why Jamon Bowman
because they couldn't have got 2/3 against Santos unless stupid Republicans voted with Democrats to hurt ourselves. They have no principles. Why would we ever vote with them on that?
Because we do have principles.
I'm just going to throw out, as much as I hate Jamal Bowman, and I'm so happy he got voted out in the primary, dude, he pulled a fire alarm, which is different than all the list of crimes that Santos did, to include conning veterans.
Listen, we can argue about that. Let's get back to Menendez. Because we're never going to agree on this. The guy
Menendez is still a senator. Yes, let's get back to him. As of today, he's still a senator.
No, but now that he's convicted, he can be removed.
Yes, he can. Will they? Let's see.
Oh, of course they will. Of course they will. Absolutely.
Now, Gene, what was the operative term there? Now that he's what?
Now that he's been convicted.
Yes. Okay. What has George Santos been convicted
of? So
when
the Democrats failed in exercising their constitutional rights and their duties, they waited, which makes them not as good as Republicans who saw the corruption and acted accordingly. You're absolutely right.
This is a district week, so nothing like this will be brought up till at least next week.
Right. So let's get. I want to talk about the defense that you offered here. By the way, Bob Menendez's brazen plot to blame his wife for his sprawling bribery scheme is merely a desperate plea to Dahl's responsibility himself, said federal prosecutors last Tuesday. There is no way that she could pull the wool over his eyes so that he didn't know what she was doing. By the way, this is a guy, wasn't Menendez the chair of the Senate Intelligence Committee once upon a time? So he was definitely in a position to give away the whole House, which is another reason why the Democrats should have booted him on their own. I know they stripped him of his committee assignment, which is like a half measure, but they should have done what Republicans did with Santos. And then it goes through, the senator is charged with gold.
And do you think, Gene?
Go ahead. What were you saying?
They have a 51 vote majority in the Senate right now, the Democrats, right? Plus the vice president, technically, right? So 52. They have the 4 independents that vote with the 47 Democrats in the Senate. Do you think that if getting rid of Menendez would cause them to be in the minority in the Senate, that they would do it, even after a conviction?
No, because they're not as good. They're not principled like the Republicans were.
Okay. So do you think it's right? Wait, Gene, 1 second. Do you think it's right to drop nuclear bombs on cities and kill lots of civilians?
Are we at war?
Well, what does it matter? It's a principled stance.
No. Because
should we drop bombs on civilians with nuclear weapons? It's whether we're at war or not. It's just a principle. What's the principle there?
It's a facts and circumstances argument. I could see scenarios where
I agree with you. Facts and circumstances. Same thing in politics. If it's going to cost us the majority, we're not going to do it.
I gave you my argument already for the facts and circumstances of trying to save the seat and the rationale behind that already.
All right,
I got you going both ways here, pal. You're not going to convince me either way.
You didn't. You said it was out of principle. Now you're saying it's out of principle,
but I also mentioned to you the strategy of getting 2 bites at the apple to try to salvage that seat.
Which I respect that more. I respect that more than the principled approach. In politics, you can't have principles against Democrats.
So I gave you 2 different freaking responses here.
I'm with you. I'm just saying.
I'll serve this one to you on a platter. Here you go. Or I'll serve this one to you on a platter.
All right.
You can eat either one you want to. I don't care which one you eat, but you eat in either way.
Oh, I'm not saying I'm buying one of your arguments.
Hey, Ross.
I give the other one more weight.
Ross.
Yeah.
I understand you were enlisted like I was and may not be good at math, but who currently is the Speaker of the House and what party currently controls the House? So your argument's invalid saying would they flip the House, the Senate, because they kicked Santos out without flipping the House.
There you go.
Am I wrong?
Wait, say that again?
You can kick Santos out without flipping the House, but you can't kick out Menendez without necessarily flipping the Senate. That's what he's saying.
Now, the Senate, like I just said, they have 51 votes consistently, 47 Democrats, 4 independents that caucus with the Democrats, plus Kamala Harris. So they have 52.
You also have Kristen Sinema, and you have...
she's part of the independents that are voting with the Democrats.
And Joe Manchin, who may not always vote with the Democrats, especially Manchin. If you give an opportunity to if you kick out Menendez and it's 50-49, right?
But it's 50-49, by the way, for a day, because governor of New Jersey is a Democrat, and he will appoint a backfill, another Democrat. So the Senate is a little different.
And if
the House has vacancies, the Senate won't have vacancies.
I understand that, but also if you give Manchin a day, what can he do? Voting, making Republicans 51-49.
You can't tell me that the Democrats are doing this out of principle. They're doing it because it's a net zero loss. They will still have a majority.
That's entirely why they're doing it. What I'm saying is the Republicans kicked Santos out of principle. And that's the whole point.
Yeah, they did do it out of principle, but they're idiots for doing it.
Why?
I would have never done that.
The House.
We barely kept the House. We're like a 2-vote majority, which is why Speaker Johnson is ballless right now. He loses 2 votes on his own side.
Excuse me. Hold on 1 second, because this is a bunch of bullshit we got to talk about. The Speaker would have been ballless whether Santos was there or wasn't there. So
Santos was the backbone of the House.
He doesn't have any backbone.
The crooked
Santos
backbone
was
house.
carrying the team.
Stop it. Stop the freaking madness.
I'm gonna rent Santos to send you a video message, Ross.
Please do. Listen, the guy was my hero. He didn't give a damn, and he was fabulous.
Yeah, well, you can subscribe to his OnlyFans now.
Wait. Hey, Ross. Should Santos be on Trump's Secret Service detail?
How tall is he?
Hey, guys, keep going for a second. I'll be right back. Keep going for a second. Keep talking.
Listen, in all fairness, like I said before, George Santos, his voting record was pretty much on point. And he's not been found guilty of a damn thing yet. When he's found guilty, I 100% agree. Kick him out. But the voters should decide. I don't know why we get accused of being a threat to democracy, and then we throw out a duly elected House of Representatives.
So the voters should decide. So the voters should decide on Menendez too.
He's convicted.
Okay, but you said the voters should decide.
Ideally, they should. To be honest with you, I honestly think the voters should still decide. Right?
So
I don't know.
Even if he's incarcerated, he should be a sitting member of the Senate.
Yes. If Donald Trump gets locked up because Biden is jailing his political opponents, why shouldn't he be allowed to run for office and be the president, even if in jail, right? The people decide who their leadership is.
Well, Trump can't be if he wins, he can't be locked up.
I don't know about that. In a state system, he could be. The federal government can't pardon state crimes.
It's a federal You're right, but they don't have to pardon him. This was all figured out under Eugene V. Debs like 100 years ago.
By the way, Gene, excellent that you put that comment up from Amanda.
Yeah, I had to.
If anyone, they don't know, nobody knows who I am really. Obviously, I don't believe that George Santos was carrying the team, right? That was obviously a joke.
Oh, it was clearly hyperbole, but yes, the Hermes Birkin was a nice touch. By the way, I just want you guys to know, and Lubeck already knows this. I'm friends out here on Long Island where I live now with a few people that helped get Santos elected who are going to be characters in the biopic. And, I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe we'll do a watch along with that at some point. But they certainly regret their role in getting him in. But yeah, I can't stand the man. He was good he was great for views. And by the way, if you're watching this, wherever you're watching this, whether it be on YouTube, on Rumble, on the Twitters or X or whatever you want to call it these days, either follow me at G Berardelli. You can see it because that's where you're watching this on X, or like and follow the show on Rumble or on YouTube. Let's help grow the channel and we can have more conversations like this because Ross, correct me if I'm wrong, we're going to be doing this on the regular now. Are we thinking Wednesdays at 9 o'clock? Is this good for you?
I think we should be able to try to do this. Yeah, keep it under an hour, Wednesday nights, try to grow.
Yeah.
Well, okay, it's my fault, Ross, that it went over.
It is.
I will fully take responsibility for that, but it's been a hoot.
No, we're having a blast. We're working out the kinks anyway. This is more just to build some repetition.
This is the maiden voyage. This is just us having fun. I'm glad that we're talking over each other so I can listen to it later on and see how it sounds and all that. So I'm all for it. That's why I'm glad we have friends in the chat helping us out. It's been a great time. You want to start wrapping things up here with final thoughts, Ross?
Yeah, we got to get out of here, man.
All right, so final thought time. Go for it.
Yeah, Menendez is a douchebag. Don't fight the Democrats with principles. That's stupid. And this whole embrace conspiracy theories when it puts them on the defense, man. Do I believe that this Donald Trump thing, assassination was a conspiracy theory with this 20-year-old kid? No, he was a fucking maniac, right? Do I think the Secret Service intentionally did things to hurt Donald Trump? No, I don't really believe that. But you know what? Publicly, I'm going to keep on pushing that because I do think that the Secret Service has to answer some questions, man. A 20-year-old kid, quick recap, 20-year-old kid registered to vote Republican, donated to Joe Biden's a PAC affiliated or that supports Joe Biden 3.5 years ago when he got inaugurated, a little longer than that. So that would put him at 16 and a half, 17 years old. No clear line of sight to the stage. Got 5'3" female Secret Service agents guarding the president. None of this makes sense Where is the director of the Secret Service? Still nowhere to be found, not coming out. I don't know, man. This is going to be like a JFK conspiracy file. I want to see the Zapruder tape after all this. Push that. No more principles, Gene. We go over the top. We're not above spreading fake news anymore. That's it.
Oh, my goodness. All right, Lubecki, thanks for coming on the show, and let's get your final thought here, and then we'll let you go.
I view it as complacency and incompetence with Trump, because I don't see any conspiracy theory where somebody's going to get off 5 shots with a widespread because they were kicked off the rifle team in high school because they were such a bad shot. I mean, let's not forget it was a retired fire chief who was killed and other people who were critically injured, in addition to Trump getting shot in the ear. This is a widespread. No one's going to take that risk at all, ever, with somebody who's that bad a shot.
Fuck that. The deep state Democrats tried to kill Trump.
Now, and this is where I hope everybody takes the time in this moment to take a step back. This is not how I want politics to be. I go back and forth to Ukraine, where I see politics being argued with artillery. And that's not what we want here. This isn't going to be the North and the South with pretty different colored uniforms. This is going to be like Syria. And we don't need civil war. Nobody should be taking shots at anybody. Like, the stuff at the congressional baseball game shouldn't have happened. Burning buildings to the ground shouldn't have happened. Plain and simple. And so this isn't some grand conspiracy simply because there's too many risk factors for it to be Trump doing this. And they would have picked a better shot if it was the Democrats. So, like, this isn't a conspiracy. This is the Secret Service being complacent because these things don't happen. And they just assume that. And incompetence. And some of that could be why certain people were assigned to certain details. And those questions should be answered. I don't think we should make assumptions.
Would be fired or someone would resign. If you were right, Lubecki, someone would be fired or someone would have resigned. So until that happens, conspiracy. Gene, what do you got?
I got you. All right. Listen, John, I'm going to let you go. Thanks for coming on. I'm going to give my final thought right now. I'm going to end the show with me and my buddy here. Jonathan, I'm removing you from the studio. Thanks, brother. I'll talk to you sometime tomorrow. All right, man?
Cool.
Sweet. All right. So, my final thought. There's negligence and incompetence. There's gross negligence. And then there's recklessness. And then somewhere beyond that, there's willfulness. Are we at negligence? No, I think we flew right by negligence. Are we at gross negligence? It's starting to look that way. Could this be considered recklessness? That's when an investigation should unfold. And I'm not going to go to willful until I see that there's a lot of evidence out there. In the meantime, I think Trump is the guy right now. He showed courage under fire in a way that most Democrats didn't think that he was going to see. We haven't even talked about his VP pick, who, by the way, would be the first Marine ever to serve as either president or vice president. Hoorah. And to be honest with you, we can go into whether that's a good pick down the road, but I think right now you're not even going to see a bump out of the RNC because there's so much news that has happened already that's going to give Trump a bump out of this, that the RNC is an afterthought at this point. Now, when you look at Biden, oh my God, what's going to happen now that he's got COVID? Is this going? I hope he stays healthy. I hope this isn't a serious case of COVID. I hope it doesn't turn into long COVID where he has to step out of the race, because Lord knows there's no bench on the Democrats. But that would give them a boost if he were to step down here. I'm praying for Joe Biden. I hope he stays in the race because that's the rematch we all want to see, especially if you want to win. So those are my final thoughts right there. So what do you think, man? We're back in the saddle again.
No,
how's it feel?
No, it was good. You said,
can we talk about on air how we have the same poster up? Jesus Christ.
But look how cool the Trump one is. I found it the same Ronald Reagan one, but with Donald Trump in it.
Yeah, I
Awesome.
need that one. I need that one to replace my buffoon poster back here, maybe.
Yeah,
or at least switch them out during the shows or whatever. So listen, gang, I want to thank everybody for hanging on this long. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channels, smash the thumbs up button, hit the notification bell on YouTube so you don't miss any other shows. Follow me on the Twitters. Ross, do you even have a Twitters anymore? Are you back yet?
No, I've been banned.
Damn it. We got to talk to Elon about that. I'll get him on the phone later. Listen, guys, thanks for hanging out for us so long. This is Gene and Ross behind enemy lines. Thanks for tuning in, and we are out of here. Good night, folks.